Welcome back, folks. It's been a casual day on World of Tanks because there's no leak info released, and the 9.7 test server is not up yet, so all I could do is play the game. Now, playing through the personal missions, I noticed a very important concept that nobody else has talked about. And what this concept is the favoritism or popularity of a few tanks. So tanks like the IS-3 or the Object 140 is very popular because they carry a lot of weight in tournaments, eSports, and clan wars. So the whole basis of this video is to decide which tank actually deserves your female crew, your OP female crews, because you want to have a tank that's similarly OP. So they fit, obviously, right? So a good analogy is that if you have money to spend on spoilers and rims and other stuff like lights and stuff for your car, you probably won't spend it on your Honda Civic that you had during high school. Obviously, right? So you probably spend it on the Porsche you got recently during your midlife crisis or something like that. So today's video will discuss which tanks actually deserve your female crews. Now the logical answer to that question is obviously I spend it however I want. I spend on a tank I actually like or favored, and that's pretty much it. But here are some opinions and tips to consider first before you put your female crews in, because you don't want to retrain them and re-customize them. That takes up gold, and here are the few tips just to consider. All right, that's just my opinions, just opinions. So here we go. So which tank is worthy of your female crew? Now female crews are released for 2 months now alongside with personal missions. So if you don't have one, here's a little bit more info. So once you complete mission number 15th of different categories of tanks, like light tanks or tank destroyers, whatnot, you'll get one female crew. So for season 1, you have a total of 20 females to be put into your tanks. We might have more seasons later on, but for now, there's only 20 total. The upsides of having a female crew is that they'll be instantly trained to 100% without gold. They have free Brothers in Arms, which is 5% to crew training efficiency bonus, and enough XP for one more skill. The downsides is that you have to research or own the vehicle in order to place the female crews into it. If you don't have it, you have to wait until you research the vehicle, so that kind of sucks. So that slows you down on your progression for the next PM missions because you cannot claim the reward to move on. So that's only the downsides. That's what I can see. But why are female crews OP? Well, the more skills and perks you have, the more XP is needed for the next skill to be reached 100%. So it goes exponentially harder to research the next skill. The Brothers in Arms, or Sisterhood of Steel they call it, is a free skill, and it does not cost XP as the skill number 1 in the slot. So basically it's a free skill, meaning that the second skill on the female crew is actually the first skill learned, which also means that the XP required for the second skill is the same XP required for the first skill on male crews, and so on and so forth. So basically the third skill on the female crews is actually the same amount of XP for the second skill on the male crews. And basically if you know skills or how much XP is needed for the skill, it goes exponentially higher. So from this graph you can see that the first skill requires the area underneath the blue line. The second skill requires the area underneath the orange line, or major qualification, you can read the graph. So yeah, the area underneath the curve gets exponentially more the higher skills you have. So calculus, hopefully you guys don't forget it, but that's calculus right there. So yeah, you can see that if you want to have the 5th skill on somebody, it will take like 10 million years, obviously. So yeah, you want to have the basic most OP skills initially before having the crappier skills later, like preventive maintenance or something on your driver. That's just mostly pointless, right? So yeah. Now, utilizing your female crews are very important because there's only 20 of them to spare. There's no more for now, so only 20. Some tanks requires more skills, like for example, the Yak Panzer E100 requires 6, whereas the Bat Chat only requires 3. So yeah, there's different crews for different tanks, and you want to have less crews for less tanks. That's how it works. Some tanks are not that good, so you can't say that, oh Sam, there's no bad tanks, there's just bad players. Well, there are bad tanks. The douchewagon number 2 is a bad tank, in my opinion. It's pretty bad in almost everybody else's opinion, but in my opinion, it's pretty crappy. So there are bad tanks. Also, there are some tanks that are not that competitive. So for example, the FE4202 at tier 10 is not as competitive as the Object 140 because it is not used as often in eSports or tournaments. So you can see where I'm going with that one. And it gets harder to recruit more females the later you go because the missions get harder, right? So after the first 5 females, your missions reset to a higher cap, I guess, because you're going for the T28 concept instead of the Stuk 4. So in order to get the next set of 5 females, it is a little bit harder, and a little bit more harder for the T55A than for the Object 260. So yeah, it gets harder. Alright. And here are the tips as well as opinions to consider before you place your female crews. Now obviously you want to recruit them for higher tier tanks like tier 9 and tier 10. Same goes for putting money into the Porsche than the 1989 Honda Civic, right? You want to try to find tanks with less crews needed. So if you average about 4 crews per tank, that's 5 tanks. That's profit. Don't place them into like a KV4 with like 7 crews. That's just ridiculous. Don't place them into artillery. Just don't. Light tanks are not really worthwhile. So they're meh kind of deal. Not really benefiting that much from the female crews. So don't go for light tanks. You want to go for tanks that need a lot of XP to elite, like the T54, since the modules are pretty expensive for the WZ120. So pretty expensive modules. So with a good crew, the grind will be not that painful for you. So always go for tanks to help you out in the future missions. So I put my crews in the Jagdpanzer E100 because it needs to deal 8,000 damage for the Object 240 or 260. So that's a lot of damage. So if you have a good crew, that will not be that hard. So try to go for tanks to help you grind out for the future missions. Try to have a tank that have multiple purpose like flanking or even spearhead assaults like the T54 or the M103 because both tanks could be played like heavy or played like medium tanks. So multiple purpose, great. Go for tanks that have multiple research successors like the T54, which goes into the T62A or the Object 140. So multiple benefits. And go for tanks that will be competitive in tournaments or clan wars if you figure that you should join a clan or join some tournaments later. So yeah, competitive tanks are great. And here are the top 3 popular tanks at tier 9 and tier 10. So mediums, we have the Batchat, which is very popular, the T62A, the Object 140, and at tier 9 we have the T54, the T54E1, and the E50. So very popular. Heavies, we have the IS-7, the T57 Heavy, and the E100 at tier 10, and the E75, IS-8, and M103 at tier 9. Tank destroyers, we have the FE215B 183, the Jagdpanzer E100, and the T110E4. At tier 9, we have the Waffenträger Panzer IV, the T30, and the Object 704. So these are the most popular tanks per tier at tier 9 and tier 10. So here's what I recommend you to plan out. So basically the Batchat has 3 crews, which is good. Choose between the T62A or the Object 140, that's 4 crew. Get the T57 Heavy, that's 4 crew. Get the T54, that's 4 crew. The E75 or the M103, that's 5 crews. So that's 20 total. So what I'm trying to say is plan ahead. But not everything works out that way. So that's the best example of the efficient use of crews. The best. Other than that, it's just fine. So yeah. Oops, forgot to mention, don't place your female crews into premium tanks or special tanks because those vehicles do not need a crew. They can utilize the crews from other tanks of the same category. of the same nation, alright? So putting female crews into premium tanks is a big waste of potential. So don't do that, alright? So let me know which tanks you guys pick for your ladies, because different people have different tastes, different favor, or different preferential tanks they have. So if you really like the mouse, you probably will put it into the mouse, but it's not that efficient, but whatever. So let me know below, or leave a comment below, and let me know which tanks you guys pick for your ladies. And as always, thank you guys for watching this video. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Hope you guys learned a little bit more about choices and decision making. So very important. But rate this video if you can. That always helps me out a lot. Subscribe to my channel for more World of Tanks stuff. As always, thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you guys next time. Peace.
We're not